So the reunion looks are out for Real Housewives of Atlanta season 17. And it looks like Kelly Farrell took the biggest L or the biggest loss. You guys, it's not just because of the way she showed up at the reunion as in comparison to everyone else. It's because she talked so much mess last year about Britt Edie working with her stylist, Paris Shea, that seems like Paris Shea is working with everybody else besides Kelly now. And Kelly's showing up looking a mess. We're going to get into that, all the reunion looks, and who exactly Paris Shea is, and what all the drama is surrounding this one particular stylist. Right after my intro plays, you guys. Give it a few seconds for it to play. Go ahead and like the video, subscribe to my channel, and hit the notification bell so you guys do not miss out when I upload. And I'll see you guys right on the other side. Everyone knows the best conversations happen in hair salons. And guess what, beauty? It's your appointment time. So grab your drink, grab your wine, grab your friends, and let's talk. My name is Tanya. I'm your host, and this is Sweet Tea. Welcome to the Sweet Beauties. I'm so glad you guys are here. Let's get into this conversation about the reunion looks from season 17 of Real Housewives of Atlanta. So the theme was inspired by Scotland with deep emerald greens, rich golds, metallic fabrics, heavy textures, and plenty of drama. Okay. We had Portia Williams setting the internet on fire in a custom emerald green gown engulfed in a massive marabou feather wrap. What y'all think about those wraps? Those seem to be in this season. A lot of the girls had wraps and feathers in their confessionals. Let me know in the comments what y'all think about those. And then we had Phaedra Park sitting on that couch, you guys, dripping in nearly $750,000 worth of diamonds. Phaedra said, "Bring out the diamonds, honey." I don't know who she called in for that favor, but she looked amazing. And then newcomers, well, not so newcomers. Uh, we're gonna say these girls in their sophomore years. Shamia Morton and Angela Oakley showed up in shimmering, structured gold looks. I thought Angela looked amazing. Her dress fit her really good from top to bottom. Her hair was very pretty and soft and flowy. Um, I thought she looked really good. Shamia's dress was definitely given African goddess. It was a beautiful gown. You could tell it was very expensive, but it looked so uncomfortable. Her hair was cute though. I like the little baby hairs, and I was glad that she wore her hair up. I wish Portia would have worn her hair up with that dress. I felt like it was too much on her shoulders. I just wish she would have worn her hair up. And then we had Kelly Farrell, who went for an old Hollywood Chanel inspired moment, covered in pearls, okay? And well, not really covered in pearls. She had like these two pearl strings um that were like sculptured that went from the back to around the front. Her hair was up and there was a lot going on with the hair. She had the heavy cheek blush that is blended up a little higher. It's kind of a new trend that they're doing now. It seemed like that Kelly took every trend she could imagine and threw it in one look, and it was a lot. Okay, it was a lot. And then we had slutty vegan CEO Miss Pinky Cole, who divided the blogs. People were kind of loving it, and then some people were hating it. But she had on this kind of heavy metallic silhouette, and it was green. And but it's also suspected that she might be pregnant. So we got to give Pinky a little pass if that is the case. But her outfit was definitely given Miss Roper. And I remember some years ago there was somebody, and someone said they looked like Miss Roper, and that's all I could think of with Pinky's look was Miss Roper. But in the sea of pageant dresses and pageant gowns and feathers and diamonds and emerald green, two women completely broke the playbook. That was Cynthia Bailey and Drew Sidora. Cynthia Bailey, who was a friend of the show this season, totally skipped the traditional reunion gown altogether and stepped onto set wearing a custom Zane toy couture jumpsuit with a dramatic New York skyline cape. Yeah, the cape had like the whole New York skyline on the back. It's very different. It's very couture. And Cynthia was wearing the shit out that jumpsuit. Okay, Cynthia's in her 50s, y'all. Cynthia is giving body. She's giving style. She's giving high fashion, high cheekbones. Um, Cynthia just looks good. And then right next to her, of course, we had Drew, who channeled a dark sequin Jessica Rabbit look. The dress fit her like a glove. It was absolutely beautiful. But the accessories that she wore in the crimped hair that was definitely a early 90s vibe, late 80s, early 90s vibe with the crimped hair. I thought it looked good, and it definitely gave it a lot of texture versus your traditional sleek bust down that a lot of the ladies tend to wear. I thought just the crimps in the hair just gave it a little something extra while keeping the silhouette nice and smooth with this just the straight bust down, the middle, long silhouette with the golden hair. Thought it looked really, really good. But it's the little things, it's the accessories that add to the outfits and that really make them special. And these two were completely different. They told two completely different fashion stories, but they were designed by the same person. And the mastermind behind both of those rule breaking looks was none other than Paris Shea. Paris, who was Kelly's former stylist. Yeah. Um, but before Paris was Kelly's stylist and before Paris was turning reality stars into high fashion moments, Paris was just a feminine little boy growing up in Milwaukee, of all places, and trying to figure out where he fit into the world.
I am from Milwaukee, Wisconsin.
Mm-hmm.
It's like 90 minutes away from Chicago, north.
Okay.
So I'm in the Midwest, like the northern side, almost near Canada, right across the water from Detroit.
Mm-hmm.
So Chicago, Milwaukee, Detroit, Minneapolis, those are all Cleveland. Those are all kind of like the main areas that people would know me or my roots, or if someone's from the Midwest, they're probably from those kind of areas.
And before we go any further, I want to go ahead and address how I'm going to be referring to Paris throughout this video. In the interview that Paris did with Derek J, Paris described himself as a feminine male. So throughout this story, I'll mostly refer to him simply as Paris. But when pronouns are necessary, I'm going to go ahead and use he and him based on how Paris described himself in that interview. Okay.
I consider myself a male, a
Mm-hmm.
very feminine male. Some people call it a see you next Tuesday. Some people call it androgynous. Some people call it a butch queen up in pumps.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know what any other words you probably would know too, but I consider myself just to be a very, very feminine male. By nature, I am feminine. Like my house is always clean. I'm always cooking. There's no hair on my body usually. I try not to be like. There's nothing masculine per se about me except that I am a male.
Mm-hmm.
So long before the Atlanta glam teams, the housewives, and designer clothes, Paris was a highly feminine child navigating a city and an environment that didn't always know what to do with someone like him. Paris has shared that by fourth grade, watching Carson Kressley on Queer Eye for the Straight Guy helped him recognize himself in someone and the fact that fashion, something that he was growing to be passionate about, could actually be a business for him and a way of making money and a career. So at that time, Paris began to look at life completely different. And with the support of his mother, who allowed Paris to experiment with makeup at an early age and to really just be who he was, never having to come out to his family and say that he was gay because they just accepted him for who he was and what he was and how he was from day one. Paris had an advantage over a lot of people, a lot of young boys in those situations. And because of that, he was confident. He was able to be confident enough to be who he was and to turn that into a career while also playing sports like swimming and baseball and basketball, tennis and soccer. Paris was defying the odds even then because while he was very feminine and totally into fashion, he was also very athletic. So imagine a young Paris walking through the halls of a Catholic high school wearing Ugg boots and carrying custom designer inspired handbags and refusing to tone himself down just to make everybody else feel comfortable. Paris wasn't following the rules of Milwaukee. Paris was creating his own rules. So at 14 years old, Paris began working for Forever 21, and they had to forge the paperwork in order for that to happen because he was obviously too young to work there. And he worked there for some years. Shortly after graduating in 2008, life threw Paris a serious curveball. Paris discussed in the interview with Darius J that he's had a little brief stint in jail, although he didn't go into detail about what it was about. But for a lot of people, something like that could have really derailed them and could have really been the moment that they gave up. But for Paris, it did not become a permanent roadblock or an excuse to stop dreaming. Instead, it became a wake up call. He realized that if he wanted a different life, he was going to have to go after it and go after it aggressively. Paris did not become a celebrity stylist overnight. He paid his dues. He spent years working as a visual merchandiser for Forever 21 in Wisconsin, where he started working at the age of 14 years old, which was clearly illegal, but we're not going to tell, right? And he also went on to pursue an education in fashion merchandising at the Arts Institute of Chicago. That type of work may not have been the glamorous work that he's doing now, dressing celebrities, but that visual merchandising background taught him how to build a complete story with clothing. He learned about proportion and color placement, balance, and most importantly, how to make people stop and look. And that is exactly what Paris would eventually bring to celebrity styling. In 2015, Paris packed his bags and moved to Atlanta and launched Paris Shea LLC. He was introduced to most Real Housewives fans during season 16 of Real Housewives of Atlanta as Kelli Farrell's fashion stylist.
Paris is my stylist, and he's helping me out today with the peace brunch. I had so many other things going on, so he just kind of assisted with making sure everything looked up to my standards, of course. No plastic. I'm so excited. It's enough plastic ladies here.
At that time, Kelli and Britt Eady were still close friends, and Kelli offered to share members of her glam squad with Britt. Now, on the surface, that sounds generous. Your friend is joining a major television show. She needs help pulling together her wardrobe, her makeup, her overall image, and you already have a team that you trust, so you connect her with that team. What could possibly go wrong, right? Well, apparently, everything. As the season continued, Kelli began to feel like Britt was receiving better looks and getting more attention from the glam squad than Kelli had. And Kelli had introduced her to that glam squad. And that is when the situation stopped being about clothes and started becoming about loyalty. Kelli eventually wanted the team to stop working with Britt. And Kelli actually gave them that order. She told them they could no longer work with Britt on the show. But the Glam Squad, however, felt differently about it because for them, it's a business. And it's about whoever is willing to pay for their time and their resources. And Paris let it be known that not only does Britt pay her bills, but she pays well and she pays on time. I don't know if that was shade to Kelli, but it was very clear that Paris was not appreciative of that order from Kelli, as Kelli is not his mama, okay? In fact, Paris's mom was very supportive of his career and would have never given him an ultimatum like that, as she lived by the mantra that if I'm fabulous, you're going to be fabulous right along with me. Kelli, on the other hand, got a little jealous, right? And so it was kind of like, was Kelli threatened by the fact that Brett Britt was looking really, really good and building these relationships with Kelli's Glam Squad slash friends?
A little bit of a situation just outside of the group. Oh, really? Yeah, we have been utilizing the same team, like hair, makeup, but come to find out, she had told the whole team that she doesn't want any of them to work with Brit.
I'm not sure what Kelli's reason was for not wanting Paris to work with Britt, but it's apparent that Paris built his own independent working relationship with Britt and continued to style her even after Kelli gave him that ultimatum. Paris became a go-to stylist for women like Cynthia Bailey, Portia Williams, and Drew Sidora. His client list has also extended beyond Atlanta to other women in the Bravo universe, including Dr. Wendy Osefo from the Real Housewives of Potomac. Paris wasn't simply putting women in expensive clothes, he was helping them to build characters and to build looks and to build brands. And let's be clear, reunion fashion is not just fashion. The women who arrive in feathers are sending a message, and those who arrive in suits are sending a message. And the women ordained in diamonds and furs are also sending a message. And Paris understands just how to use clothing to create a storyline, even before the women even open their mouths. One of the biggest moments in Paris's career came through his work with Cynthia Bailey. His styling became part of a larger conversation surrounding some of Cynthia's most memorable housewives fashion moments, including recognition in Vogue's Look Back at the Evolution of Housewife Style. It's a major leap from visual merchandising at Forever 21 in Wisconsin to being connected to fashion moments recognized by Vogue. Paris is definitely on the come up. And while he's coming up, he's left his old friend Kelli in the dust. And in Real Housewives world, success like that always comes with drama.
Expect me, then baby, I'm gonna lay the whole clip out. The stylist said you look a mess, so keep it up. Unless you want to talk about those abortions you had when you was married. What did you say? What did you say? Bitch, you can't even have a kid.
But here's the question, you guys. Once you introduce your friend or stylist and that friend begins paying that stylist for professional services, do you still get to control that relationship? Because a stylist is not your boyfriend. A makeup artist is not your husband. And a hairstylist is not automatically required to stop taking another paying client just because the friendship between the two women has ended. And Kelli has some nerve to even ask him to do something like that. Unless, of course, she has some kind of exclusive agreement in place where Paris was on a salary and contracted to only work for her. But if that's not the case, then Paris is running the business. And Kelli has to ask herself, was she angry because Britt continued using her team? Or was she angry because Britt was looking better than her in those outfits?
Thought my looks look better than hers. Okay. I need everybody to wish Portia happy birthday. Sally's here. Look at Cynthia Bailey. You look great.
And if she was angry about Britt using the team, how do you think she feels now about him styling Cynthia, Portia, Drew, and even K. Michelle and Nene Leakes? Or did the deeper problem begin when Kelli felt like Britt was getting better results? Let's tell the truth. Two women can wear the same clothes from the same stylist, and the results may not be the same. Their bodies are different, their taste levels may be different, and their confidence may be different. One client might trust the stylist's complete vision, while the other might want to change different details. So, was Paris really giving Britt better looks? Or was Britt simply willing or better able to carry out Paris's vision? Either way, by the time Kelli gave Paris the ultimatum or the order to stop working with Britt, it really destroyed their relationship. And the relationship now appears to be over. And we got Kelli showing up to reunions looking like dressed like her dress came from Fashion Nova. If it looks that good, the gloves on her hands definitely don't look like they were professionally made. It looks like someone threw that together last minute. And it looks like someone threw everything they had at it and it still did not work. And meanwhile, the ladies that Paris dressed are considered amongst the best dressed at the reunion by myself and I would imagine by the greater public. I mean, y'all gotta admit, Cynthia Bailey looks good from head to toe, and Drew Sidora looks great also from head to toe. So Paris remains to be a part of the conversation, just not a part of Kelli's conversation or Kelli's glam squad anymore. Y'all let me know what you guys think though. Do y'all think Kelli's mouth wrote herself a check that her fashion couldn't cash? Or do you think Paris is wrong for working with Kelli's coworkers and people that Kelli introduced him to and not working with her? Does Kelli even have a right to ask Paris not to work with other people? And would it hurt Paris's business if he chose to be loyal to Kelli and not work with these other people? Y'all let me know what you guys think in the comments. I can tell you guys that for myself as a stylist, I don't think I could, I would never not work with someone because someone that I'm currently working with has asked me not to work with them unless they're going to pay me the money that I would have lost by working with that person. If I even wanted to get into that kind of drama. But I personally wouldn't appreciate someone feeling like they had the audacity or the influence over me and my career to tell me who I can and can't work with. So I think Kelli messed up there. And now Kelli's going into the reunion, not as one of the best dressed, but as one of the worst dressed. And it's really her own fault. Let me know what you guys think. Don't forget to pop off in the comments, you guys, and like the video, subscribe to the channel if you have not already. And I will see you guys next time right here in this suite. Until next time, peace out, beauties.